Well, Bryson Graham has started building his front office. He has now hired Acie Law to be the director of player personnel and scouting. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. The Chicago Bears have now hired Acie Law as their new vice president of player personnel, which it brings in a guy that has some experience. This guy was currently with the director of amateur scouting with the OKC Thunder. He also was director of player personnel for the Brooklyn Nets before that one. He did join the OKC Thunder before last season, helped them win a title in 2025. He also worked previously as a scout for the Sacramento Kings, so he has a lot of experience across multiple environments with scouting in the NBA, right? It's talent evaluation, all that type of stuff. This does mean that this is with the Bulls going into this draft process. You know, I think that the way that you can look at this is that, Bryson Graham brought in somebody that he played with, somebody that is a former Chicago Bull as well. Many people will remember that. He did play with that one. But somebody who's worked for organizations like the OKC Thunder, not to say that, we don't know exactly what decisions that Acie Law, if any, helped them make with the OKC Thunder. He would have been the guy that would have been in charge of their scouting when they drafted guys like Thomas Sorber, stuff like that. But, bringing in a guy from another good organization and getting ready for this draft position, that means that we've now hired this guy before a GM, before any of that. And that really does set up the Chicago Bulls to really continue to just go through this draft process really well. Acie Law being with the OKC Thunder means that he was already looking at scouting before now. So it's not like Acie Law is coming in, he has to get up to gear. It just has changed now who he's scouting for, right? So with him being the director of amateur scouting for the OKC Thunder, he probably already has a draft intel on all these guys coming into the draft. So now him and Bryson Graham can go through that, evaluate that, decide on who the Bulls are going to end up picking. And, it is what it is when it comes down to it, man. Acie Law was a solid player in college, didn't really turn out to much in the NBA, but, that doesn't matter with this job that he's in right now. It's just at the point now where the Bulls are, they're moving forward, they're doing this type of thing, and it's really good when it comes down to that. Vaughn says, "Yo, Hayes, it's that time again." What time is that? To get excited? It's time to get excited when it comes down. Yeah, we all excited, my boy. We all excited. If he trusts him, I will too. I feel that, Rob. I feel that. I was watching the video from this morning, and this one popped up. You guys know I don't wait. When news drops, we drop. It's a very simple process here at Chicago Bulls Central. When news drops, we drop. That's it, man. Okay, I like this move. I like it as well. I definitely like it as well. Let's see. Is this Acie Law from? Yes, this is the same Acie Law that played for the Chicago Bulls. He played at Texas A&M. He's worked with the OKC Thunder. He's worked with the Kings. He's worked with the Brooklyn Nets. That's what it is when it comes down to it. Played for the Bulls in 2010. He played for the Chicago Bulls. Wow, I remember Acie Law coming out of the draft. I remember that draft process too with Acie Law for sure. Should I be concerned about taking a cuff at 4? I don't think so. I talked about that on today's daily episode. I don't think there's anything people should be worried about too much so, in my personal humble opinion, but we'll see. Peace, good brother. Don't kill me for asking this, but is this good? It's a solid, so the thing is, in the front office, right? And I hope I don't offend anybody by saying this. In the front office, everybody has their role, right? When you're an exec or in scouting, everybody has their role. Nothing's all on one person, right? So even with him being the director of amateur scouting, he didn't personally scout everybody that the OKC Thunder drafted. Does mean that he had a voice in that room. So it's kind of hit or miss, right? That's why it's important to be collaborative, right? Everybody to have their view, everybody to have their voice. But I think it just highlights how important collaborativeness is in the front office when you want to make those moves and have the right guy. So it definitely seems like a solid hire. But again, it's not like he was the biggest voice or the key decision maker to where you can say that things good or bad were all on him, right? Like we've seen it before. Scouts can have the right guy scouted, but the guy that ends up making the decision, they could have decided on the wrong guy, right? Like we hear stories all throughout the NBA where the scouts or there's somebody in the room or somebody on the team that says, "Hey, we should draft Walker Kessler," but then the person who's making the decision says, "No, we're drafting Dalen Terry." So you can never quite know for sure. But I do think that Acie Law is the organizations that he's come from, how he's worked himself up. I think all those things are pretty good and seem like he's been around the right people and with the right voices around. Love that he hired a VP of player personnel first. Shows that he's completely player focused and keeps them top of mind. I agree with that. I do think that shows that this process right now that they're in, it's all about getting the right players in here. It's all about finding the right guys, doing all that type of stuff. Acie Law hire for the front office, what position? He is the director of player personnel and scouting. So that's what you go in regards to that one. Now I wonder if Sam Cassell will be the coach pick. I mean, we don't even have a list yet, right? Like, and you know, Bryson Graham with the draft combine and everything here, I know he said that he'd try to put the candidate list together this week. That was the initial thing. But, you know, with the draft combine being in Chicago, you have an opportunity to meet with so many players. You have the opportunity of just taking them right over to the Advocate Center and having them work out with your guys, right? Like all that type of stuff. You know, I think that Bryson Graham is knee deep in draft stuff right now. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, maybe over the weekend, maybe at the beginning of the week, we start hearing kind of interview setup, interview request for that coaching position. But, you know, as of right now, we don't know for sure. I think it's a fair thing to say. Look at the contributors OKC drafted who weren't lottery picks. This is where collaboration comes in. Great point there, Smitty. Great point. It is such a collaborative situation when you talk about a front office making the right decisions with drafting, scouting, all that type of stuff. Because you look at a lot of guys. It doesn't always mean that you walk away with all the guys that your scouts loved, right? Like it depends on all of that stuff. So you got to look at that part of it as well. Great call out there. Jay Money says, I'm going to reserve judgment until I see a full staff and roster form. I've been spurned before by management. Hey, fair. I don't think any Bulls fan especially would knock you for that when we've all been spurned by it before, right? There's always been things that look like the right move that end up not being that. So I think that's a perfectly fair place to be in, brother. I agree with you there. I'm all right on Sam Cassell after the Celtics performance for game 5, 6, and 7. Why? He wasn't the one that made the ultimate coaching decisions. Like, not like Phil Jackson had bad coaching decisions. Tom Thibodeau sometimes made bad decisions. Like, I think when you try to make judgments based off one series, it's so much that goes into all of those things that if you're only good on somebody just because of one series, what about all the process to get you there, right? What about the fact that he was on a coaching staff that was missing its best player for the majority of the season, and they still were one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference and coached very well, executed very well on the defensive side of the ball, the X's and O's. What about all of that? So, you know, again, you're not wrong for how you feel and you judge it. I'm just saying that I just think that you kind of, when you look at just that one thing and one experience, you can miss out on some good too. That's my personal. Just like nobody's who they are at their best. People aren't who they are at the worst either, unless they're AK, right? Like, then you look into that one. I want Sweeney to coach the young Bulls. I like Sean Sweeney as well. I think that he's a very good candidate to coach this Bulls team for sure. I was starting to get worried that Bryson was taking too much time to hire anyone. Obviously, you don't want to apply too much pressure on yourself. Well, I mean, listen, it takes time, right? Like, and these guys are with organizations too. Like, you don't know what their role is with those organizations, and you know the mindset of interviewing those guys if they're traveling with the team or not. You never know. So we'll see. I'm not mad at the hire. Both were teammates at Texas A&M. Also, I didn't know he briefly played for us back in 2008 and 2012. 2010. I believe, did he play for us in 2008? I know he played here in 2010. I remember that much. Is Quinn still your favorite head coach? Yes. Chris Quinn is still my favorite for head coach. Doesn't mean that I'm like Chris Quinn or bust. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, I acknowledge like Johnny Bryant's a good one. Sean Sweeney's a good one. Sam Cassell's a good option there, right? Like, so I'm not so far locked in to Chris Quinn where I'm going to be like, if you don't hire Chris Quinn, it's a loss. But that's just my favorite candidate out of these guys. I love Chris Quinn. Let's try a fresher pros. Let's go Rondo. I wouldn't be mad at Rondo either. I had some questions on like what made people think that Rondo wanted a head coach, but then once it came out that he did and he's interviewing, definitely changed my mind on that one. Hi from Australia. Love the channel. Been watching for years. I appreciate you, G. My name is G. Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Like, and everybody hit that subscribe button. You know, we just passed 30,000 subscribers on the channel. The next goal is 50K, right? We're not even gonna stop and slow down for 40K. We want to get to that 50K subscribers. So let's keep pushing, man. Let's get there, man. He played 4 seasons, left in the end of 2012. Okay, good call out there. I want a coach who has zero issues with playing young guys and letting those young guys take their lumps and learn. Hey, I hear you on that one. If not Quinn, who's the other coaches? I think I just mentioned those guys, right? Like Sean Sweeney, Johnny Bryant, Sam Cassell, of course. Rajon Rondo's on that list, absolutely as well. Even Mike Nori is still another guy that I take a look at for sure. So we appreciate you bringing the news first, Hayes. As always, you're the hardest working man in Chicago. I appreciate that. I can appreciate that. Jigs in the building says, yo, finally caught you live. Your off-season live streams always go on late in the night where I'm from. Where you from? Where you from, bro? I think we keep Giddey and Modest, and the rest are just expendable, in my opinion. Listen, I don't think we're going to see wholesale changes on the roster in Bryson Graham's first year. Maybe at the trade deadline we start seeing some of that, but, like, I don't think Bryson Graham is going to, like, for everybody's like, oh, we could trade Josh Giddey and get another top 10 pick. First of all, I doubt it in this draft. Secondly, I don't think that, unless Bryson Graham sees a point guard that he's absolutely like, this is the guy that I want being the point guard of my team for the future. I think it's going to be an evaluation of Modest, Giddey, Noah, Leonard Miller, right? Rob Dillingham, maybe to a lesser extent, we'll see. And we're just going to see how this process plays out. It is going to be a process. It's going to take some time. I think everybody's going to kind of focus in on it, right? I'm from India, Tamil Nadu. I've been following you since 2 years ago, Bulls. Well, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you for rocking with us, man. I appreciate that. Jig says Philippines, bro. Was still late, though. What's the breaking news? The Chicago Bulls are hiring Acie Law as their VP of player personnel. So I think that's a really good spot for him to be in. He's done similar roles in OKC, so I think that's good. Did they actually hire him? I thought they talked to him, but didn't confirm hire just yet. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I think it was reported by Scoto that he was hired. Hold on, let me keep me honest. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that it is an official hire. Let's see. Yes, he is officially hired. So he is hired. Casey Johnson has reported it. Mike Scoto has reported it. So yes, he is officially hired by the Chicago Bulls. So there you go on that one. And Casey Johnson even said, chatter at the draft combine yesterday was this hire was close, as are others. So it seems like we could be starting to get a lot of that. We could be getting a lot of news in regards to hires coming up soon if Casey Johnson's words on that are to be believed. So there you go on that one. Can't wait to see Noah develop this year. We may already have our center of the future. Could be. He's going to have to put on weight if he wants to play center. I know a lot's been made about him being 7 feet tall, which is great that he grew to 7 feet tall, but like more than just height's needed for center. You gotta have that body, right? And Noah Essengay is going to have to be somebody that's going to have to put on 10, 15, maybe 20 pounds, from his draft weight, especially if he's going to want to play center, right? You're talking about a league where you got centers regularly that are 250, 265 in some of these cases, right? So you got to get that in regards to it. So we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. I'm going to wrap it up. As any new hires come on, you guys know, when news drops, we drop. Very simple process around here. We'll see how that's going to go. I love you guys, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button too. We are trying to become the biggest subscriber base on it. The only Chicago Bulls focus channel that has more subscribers than us is Jamal over at Bull Central, which is well deserved. Shout out to Jamal. It's good to see Jamal back outside too. He's been dropping content a lot here lately with all the news going on with the Bulls. So make sure y'all support Jamal too. But competitively, from a brother competitive standpoint, no drama, no beef. I want to pass him up. I just want to pass him up. I just want to get it done. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.